But he wanted to go all the way, again, till about noon. You know, very long hours of sleep, which again was not ideal, but that's what he wanted. Because the other doctors working with him gave him 50 to 18 hours. So that was night one. Reduced propofol, starting more lorazepam and Versed.
The Conrad Murray trial on Friday, prosecutors played a portion of the audio tape of the police interview with the doctor in court. Now, we're going to concentrate on that tape right now and how it plays in this case. Today, there was a break in the Conrad Murray trial because it is Columbus Day and it's a holiday. But the trial will resume tomorrow when the rest of Conrad Murray's audio tape statement will be played for the jury. Criminal defense attorney and former L.A. County Deputy District Attorney James E. Blatt joins us once again tonight. He's going to give us a preview of what we can expect tomorrow. Tomorrow, of course, being day 10. We have a copy of the transcript here. How unusual is it that we would have a copy of everything that is being played in court like that? It seems so odd. It
is unusual, but for whatever reasons, the media has obtained it at an early stage. And since it's going to be played, the prejudice is minimal, so fortunately for you and for the media, they have a copy of it.
Does it force Conrad Murray to testify in defense of some of the things we're hearing?
I think it does. You know, it's premature because we haven't heard all the experts yet. But you have a situation here where Dr. Murray indicates that he did give him the propofol. Plus, over another 10-hour period, he gave him 5 other different types of sedatives. And then you have the other situation where Dr. Murray indicates that he left a location to go to the bathroom for only 2 to 3 minutes. And when he came back, Mr. Jackson was not breathing. And then you have the other statements from the witnesses indicating that during that time period there was approximately 46 minutes of phone call conversations, including to one of the waitresses he was dating at a critical time. So this is going to have to be explained in some fashion. Whether those phone calls were made away in private, or were they made at the time in Mr. Jackson's presence?
All right, so we have a copy of the transcript. I'm going to read some very short sentences here, and I want to get your take on these. This is, again, the statement between Dr. Conrad Murray and the LAPD. He says, Dr. Murray says, I then decided to go ahead and give him some of the milk meaning the propofol, right, which is often referred to as milk of amnesia, so he could get a couple of hours of sleep so he could produce because I cared about him. Who's in charge here?
Well, that's one of the problems here. It appears, and as you listen to, as you read the tape, and you'll be listening to it tomorrow, Dr. Murray indicates that there was tremendous pressure put on him by Mr. Jackson, that he needed to perform tomorrow, that he was deeply concerned that rehearsals might be canceled, and that you have this problem here of a conflict of interest, pressure, giving in to Mr. Jackson in reference to giving him the propofol after he's had, over a period of 10 hours, 5 other sedative drugs.
Let's talk about, there's another excerpt, and we've got this one up on the screen. A portion of the interview revolves around a cream called Vallisone and Jackson's alleged visit to his local dermatologist. This is Detective Martinez. He says this cream is for some kind of inflammation of the skin. Dr. Murray says, well, I'm told that Dr. Klein is maybe a dermatologist. I don't know. But his production team, meaning Jackson's, has said to me recently that on his worst days on the set is when he's gone to Dr. Klein's office, which is about 3 times a week. When he comes back, he is basically wasted and requires at least 24 hours for recovery. That indicates to you that perhaps that he's seeing other doctors? He's doctor shopping here?
Well, there's no question. In fact, Dr. Murray indicates that there's a number of other doctors that are prescribing different types of medication for him. But the prosecution is going to hit this hard, that it is Dr. Murray's responsibility to obtain all these medical records, to speak to these doctors, and also Dr. Murray is an internist, so he's familiar with this procedure, so he can formulate the right type of procedures for him.
How do you rehabilitate Dr. Murray at this point if there's all this conversation with the LAPD that appears to be damaging?
Well, in the interview, Dr. Murray appears to be deeply concerned and has indicated he has a great affection towards Mr. Jackson. I think the reality is that Dr. Murray is going to have to testify as to truly what transpired. Where was he located when he made these phone calls? the true reason as to why he gave him propofol, the problems that developed, and don't forget, he indicates here in the transcript that after he came back from going to the bathroom, which was 2 to 3 minutes, and noticed that he wasn't breathing, he did a variety of actions, CPR, he ventilated mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and he indicated he was having difficulty because the bed was not firm enough for him to do the CPR. So you have a variety of questions that need to be explained by Dr. Murray. He may very well do it.
There was also the issue of he was able to call security, but it was quite a while before he dialed 911 or before he asked someone to dial 911. What's the jury going to think of that?
Well, the jury's going to look at Dr. Murray if he testifies, and there is an explanation. Look, he has a patient in great distress. He is no longer breathing. Every second, every millisecond is critical. So he's going to indicate, I had a choice to make. Call 911 or call security or call other individuals or immediately try to save his life. He related that he immediately tried to save his life through CPR, although he had difficulty doing it on the bed because of its lack of firmness, and he tried to ventilate him through mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and he gave him some additional medication, all of which failed.
You have been on both sides of the fence here. You've been a prosecutor, you've been a defense attorney. You look at this statement. Does it surprise you that Dr. Conrad Murray's defense team was in place and was there for this? Well,
hindsight is always 20/20, and in this situation, it becomes obvious when you start off in the interview that the police, the investigators, are not really sure as to what transpired. They haven't talked to a lot of the witnesses. They have not interviewed the coroner and have received the autopsy report. They don't even know the cause of death. Now,
so they're just information gathering. They're not in there looking for, the aha moment or a confession or something like that.
So when you have this situation where you have your client is going to relate what transpired, it behooves you to speak to the witnesses who were at the scene. That would be the security individuals. It behooves you to go to the scene as an attorney to look, to understand the geography of the situation. What, if any, phone calls did he make during that time period? And perhaps, and I think important, know what the cause of death is before you have your client relate his explanation. Because once he relates this explanation, as the district attorney is going to indicate, he's stuck with it. He's stuck with his procedures, he's stuck with his timeline, and he's stuck with everything else in reference to the phone calls.
So do you think the prosecution looked at this and thought they hit gold?
Well, hitting gold and winning are two different things, because many of these things can be explained. But what it did do is that it pinned Dr. Murray down into 3 or 4 areas. One, he did admit the nature of the drugs that he gave him, and that he gave him propofol, which he died from propofol intoxication. So now you have the doctor admitting that he gave it to him.
Now, the second part of this tape is going to be played in court tomorrow.
Yes.
You're the defense team. What are you doing tonight?
Nothing. There's really not too much to do. The tape speaks for itself. You're in a position where you're going to have to wait to put on your defense. So you're going to have to grin and bear it. There's going to, a lot of times you think a jury is responding a certain way, but you really never know for sure. And they may find this sympathetic for Dr. Murray, or they may find it very positive for the district attorney's case.
One other quick question. If you're the defense team, are you looking at the jury box now and trying to figure out how you can sort of separate them and really target particular jurors to win them over to your side?
I don't really do that. I don't think jurors are swayed by little games and innuendos. I think they use hard evidence and not emotions. I don't think they care about the number of women that came in reference to the last week. I think what they care about is the timeline. So if you're a defense attorney, you want to bring on the experts to give a definitive analysis of what he passed away from and what the problems were. And I think that you're leading to the final conclusion that you're going to have to call Dr. Murray to explain away effectively these inconsistencies.
All right. Well, thank you. Again, court resumes tomorrow morning at 8:45.
All right.
We appreciate your time.
Thanks
for breaking it down for us.
Bye-bye.
All right. We will have gavel-to-gavel coverage of the trial every single day right here on our digital channel 4.2, California Nonstop.